Welcome to the Strive AI tutorial on segment performance analytics. This is my favorite Strive AI feature, I have to say. So this one's targeting our goal of trying to make your Strava experience better, right? Improving it. And obviously everybody loves Strava segments, right? That's my favorite innovation in the last decade in endurance sports, right? It gives everybody a chance to compete against themselves and against their buddies and against, frankly, everybody that hits the same segments they do. And so we've long been working on having good predictions and analytics around segments, and we're finally there. We've had it up and running for about 2 months now, and it's definitely working for me. I mean, I've been using it quite a bit. So I wanted to just do a quick walkthrough of it, give you a sense of how it works, and explain it a bit in more detail than the posts we've done in the different social media outlets we use. So what we've done is we've replaced the starred segment screen, which used to show you your most recent achievements on your starred segments from a watts per kilogram perspective. Now it shows you any of the segments you've decided to watch, and that's the term we landed on. Once you watch a segment, then Strive AI will once a day pull some weather predictions for that segment and look at training three algorithms to try to predict how performance could be on that segment based on the weather, and save those performance predictions and even notify you if something favorable is on the horizon. So, screen is broken up into two pieces, right? You've got these are the segments I'm watching, all near my house, ones that I covet dearly and try to hit hard all the time. And a time machine is really just letting you index through the time. Like, so let's say I'm going to go on a ride tomorrow at 8 a.m. I can scroll up to 8 a.m. and then see what are each of the starred segments that I have that I've watched looking like. And I'll tell you what that means here in a minute. But, I'm looking at here's each of the segments I'm after. 8 a.m. tomorrow, and I might go on a ride. And, I've got some that are showing green, so that's a good thing. So let me explain what the three predictions we do are and how you can use those to your benefit. So the first thing we do is we look at the weather patterns, right? So every time somebody in Strive AI does a segment, about 2 weeks later, we pick up the actual weather that was observed for the time they went over the segment, and we save that along with all their performance data, like how much did they weigh and what was their watts and what's their watts per kilogram. And we use that information to train these three predictors. One is basically just predicting a value that tells you how favorable or how difficult the wind might be. So 0 is it's neutral, a positive number, 1, 2, and sometimes I've even seen 3 is favorable wind, and then a negative number, -1, -2, and I don't think I've ever seen a -3. Essentially tells you the degree of positive or negative the wind is, and it's different for every segment. We do some very fancy analytics to determine how important the weather is, how important the wind is, and then we combine those into a variable and we do something that's called a z-score that's essentially just trying to tell you how far off the norm the weather for this forecast is based on all the analytics we've done that tells you, what wind direction and what wind speed is actually making an impact, right? And we look at all kinds of different looks of the weather, right? It was quite intense. The second prediction we do is more related to you as an individual. It's based on your current power curve for your, like in this case, I'll use this example, 20-minute test. I've done it in 19 and a half minutes roughly. And so if you take my peak power at 19 and a half minutes and you put it in this wind situation, I predict that I'll get to almost 90% of my PR. So probably not likely I'm going to set a new PR there at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then this prediction here would be telling me the number of watts per kilogram I would need in order to hit a PR. In this case, the algorithm hasn't passed our tests, right? I think we look for about 85% accuracy with a very low error rate, which is, means when it does have an error, like how big of an error is it, right? If the error is not significantly big, like it's just off by a few seconds, then we're not going to penalize it, right? So those three predictions are basically what we do for each one of your watch segments. So in this case, probably not going to go after it. But East Ridge, my favorite mountain biking segment, while the algorithm doesn't have enough data to predict what my speed or power is, I do see that the wind is good, so I probably have a pretty favorable chance if I think my fitness is there, right? So let me drill in on one and show you what that's looking like, right? So here's a great example of one that I just used to set a new PR the other day, right? So the wind has changed, right? Last week it was all +2s, right? And I went out and set a new PR. So obviously the wind pattern is different, right? Welcome to the Bay Area. We got these microclimates that change all the time. But this is, instead of me scrolling through the time machine, it basically shows me the next 48 hours, right? Or maybe not all 48, but when we pull 48 hours of data and then whatever from currently now, it's about 4 p.m. when I'm doing this, what is available, you know, it just looks like pain all along here. There's really no good time to hit this segment for the next few days, right? So it just gives you, if you really want to focus on one segment, you can see when's the right time to go hit that segment without scrolling through the time machine, basically. And it gives you a few other bits of information, right? So, you can see what the profile looks like. It's basically, this is the picture of it. We may change this to be a picture of the altitude or the elevation curve. We're not 100% sure. We like just showing a picture of it because once you know a segment, you kind of know it. And then this is your current PR time and your current PR speed. So you can see this is a fast TT place, right, where we're riding the time trial bike, trying to go all out. I'm the only person watching this sprint because just not a lot of people have figured out this feature exists yet. And then these are kind of our secret sauce. The only thing I'll say about this is it's related to which bike I'm using. So I've chosen to watch this segment using my time trial bike. And so, basically what this is some of the secret sauce we did to kind of make the predictions work for everyone. We group people into buckets, 1 of 5 buckets based on kind of are they a negative coefficient or a positive coefficient on how fast you can go at a certain watts per kilogram. So very proud of this feature. I think a lot of people are going to like it. We haven't turned on the notifications yet. I'm inching closer to that, probably, just trying to find the best experience, right? Because I don't want to send it for telling you in the middle of the night it's a good time to go hit the segment, right? But, probably what we'll do is we'll throw off just one notice and say, hey, there's something worth looking at on this segment to get you back into the app instead of telling you exactly what's going on in the notification. Just kind of give you a heads up that, hey, when the next day you're looking at your data, maybe you want to check this out. So to add one, I'll just quickly show that. Whoops, this would be canceling it. All right, so let me get out of there and I'll click to add one. So I want to give you a caveat here. The only segments that'll show up are those that you've starred, and they've got to be in that top 10,000 segments in Strive AI. So we keep getting more and more data every day, right? And we've got I think almost 11 million segment effort samples now. And we also don't do it for virtual segments because weather patterns on virtual segments aren't very interesting. So if I were to add one, right, I can pick the bike I want to be on. Let's say I pick my road bike and I say I want to look at Pump House Hill in Happy Valley. Then I can just hit save, and then it'll go ahead and tell me I'm going to see this on my watch list in the next 24 hours. And if I look at it right here, it's there. I just don't have any predictions yet, right? And then if I click in on that and I hit the minus symbol, it stops watching it. And then I can go back. Okay, well, that's segment performance analytics. Thanks for listening.